3 out of 5 Canadians still read their community newspaper, which is an extraordinary thing in what we like to think is the digital age. And similarly, community newspapers, not the big newspapers, but community newspapers are still Canadians' preferred source of news. They're Canadians' most trusted source for ads. And interestingly enough, they are one of the few newspaper formats or print news formats that are still read cover to cover.
To me, the Quebec Chronicle Telegraph is an institution among the English-speaking population of Quebec City.
That newspaper is a survivor, and it's been a survivor because it has been able to change. It has changed local, it has changed ownership, it has changed readership, format, ideology. It has been able to adapt, in fact, to the needs of the time and the space where it found itself.
Such a rich experience. It touched everything, and I think I grew a lot just by being able to meet all of the people that I was able to meet, and really honored to have the responsibility to be able to share the stories that I was able to help share. It's just so powerful.
Having a platform to make sure that the English-speaking folks are communicating and sticking together and being part of the community and having a voice.
It was always there.
I always go around the house finding them a coffee table and all that kind of stuff. I just pick them up and just look at it and just turn it around and look at the stuff. And when I see myself, I'm like, yeah, that's me. And interesting articles and a bunch of stuff.
This is me here. The other arrow there is my sister. This is me here, and my sister is here.
I would like to hear the history of the newspaper also, because it always says like 250 years, but it would interest me to know where was it created, the creator, and
Quebec Gazette was, of course, a local newspaper. But when you read the very first edition, which came out on the 21st of June, 1764, the very first article, after the rambling around of the journalists saying why they have created the paper, but the very first article was about the city of Kiev getting ready to receive the Imperatrix Catherine II for a visit. This is the amazing thing when you look at the Quebec Gazette for the first 8 to 10 years or so, there's practically no local news. Gilmore and Brown, the two printers, that's what they were printers, they were not journalists. They didn't have any reporters working for them. They had subscribed to English and American newspaper. They were doing like we do today, you know, but with real scissors for cutting and real glue for pasting. And they were making the newspaper basically in this way, telling all news that had been happening in Europe, in the 13 colonies, or in the United States after that. The Quebec Chronicle Telegraph is a real local newspaper.
The odd time it used to appear in my house, and my neighbors would get it. And later on, I suppose, when I was about 10 or 11, I started delivering Chronicle telegraphs. 4:30, I'd deliver the Chronicle. Yeah, it wasn't a morning newspaper. It would come earlier on Saturday. You'd have a particular run. You know, you'd have 4 or 5 streets, and everybody who was English-speaking on those streets who decided to subscribe to the Chronicle, you deliver I would count the papers, and because you would have to keep track. If you had an extra one, fine, you could take it home and read it. Or I mean, I remember.
Because then you could throw it.
A guy waiting for the bus, and he'd always be trying to buy a newspaper from me, and I would only sell it if I knew I had an extra, you know.
Oh, cool!
It was a daily. It was not a tabloid. It was a bigger, larger format. I couldn't tell you how many pages, but I guess there was probably 12, and it was what the size you'd expect a newspaper to be. On the weekend there was a colored section. If we'd buy the Chronicle, that's when we'd buy the Chronicle. I think it was 10 cents on Saturday, because you'd get the color section and the colored comics. It was a regular newspaper, like in the 1950s and 1960s. You'd find the international news on the front page, and national news, Canadian news, and Quebec, province of Quebec, and international. And that's not the case anymore. Now, as a rule, basically it's devoted to reporting on community events.
For Quebec City, I'd see the English-speaking community paper as having a role to play in keeping that community communicating, in touch, keeping it vibrant, alive. People new to the city can pick it up and know what's going on, can see what the English-speaking people are interested in. It's a way of meeting people. For new people, it's a way of getting together for the people that have been here for a while. The Morin Center, Jeffrey Hill, all these types of community organizations are ways of just getting people together.
My job in the beginning was really the community news. So I would cover the school board. I covered the Central Quebec School Board for almost a decade. I went to their meetings once a month, went to the schools, covered community events, and built my network, sort of finding out, meeting a lot of people from the community and relying on some really great folks in the community to help me understand.
I've learned that the people are the best part of the community. And there is a group of hardworking, dedicated, friendly, warm, welcoming people in the community that really are vibrant, and they want to see this newspaper survive. And they've done everything they can to welcome us. So Shirley Nadeau is very involved. She copy edits and provides articles, and she's just been a fabulous resource in the community. She knows lots of people. We have freelance writers now, and we're actually getting now more submissions than space.
More and more we find that Anglophones aren't the only people who are interested in the Quebec Chronicle Telegraph. And by an Anglophone, I mean not only English language speakers who were born and raised in Quebec City. We're all Anglophones in the sense that we speak English before we spoke French. We all have found a way to connect to Quebec City through this one small, seemingly small newspaper that has an extraordinary scope and a powerful impact.
250 years is definitely worth celebrating. I'm really happy to see the paper is alive and well, thriving. It's out in cyberspace. I'm eager to see how the next technologies disturb and challenge and enable the paper to grow. I hope that the paper version stays. I appreciate being able to navigate through stories and to get a rich connection to go further. And I wish the Chronicle long life and success in pivoting, in meeting the challenges that come.
Certainly for Anglophones, we hope that it is a true and accurate reflection, and that everybody's proud of what it used to be in the past and what it will be in the present, and we hope for a great future for it.
Our anniversary celebrations are not a eulogy. They are a milestone, a landmark, and a launching point for whatever comes next.